Hello and welcome everybody to round 2 coverage of the 2019 Great Lakes Open presented by Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. I'm Brian Earhart, joined here by Kevin Jones, bringing you some commentary on this lead card action. Kevin, how you doing today?
Brian, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to watch this card attack the course. Round 2, so it's moving day, so we're going to see some real good action, I believe.
And we had pretty solid conditions, and we have some big arms out here. We have Paul McBeth, Kevin Jones, and Anthony Barela, and Chris Clemons, the lefty, getting on the lead card as well. Hole number 1, 605-foot par 3. Thoughts on that?
Just one of the longest par 3s that we play on tour, but reachable by a big percentage of the field. This is not where the basket is. The basket's going to be pushed back a little bit further, a little bit straighter, and it just takes some incredible distance control and angle control.
And I like the fact that in order to get the birdie, you have to throw a multi-angle shot. Anthony's trying to get this to flatten out and just didn't quite get enough on it. Keep in mind that the whole left side is roped off and out of bounds, so righties really need to make sure they get it over to the right. This looks pretty good.
Yeah, like the last thing that you're wanting to do on this hole is leak it left OB. You have all of the right side to work, so jerk it over, throw it onto the right side, and start with a 3 at worst, I'd say.
Absolutely, and even the lefties on this hole have to throw a multi-angle shot. They're challenging the OB. Definitely favors the lefty a little bit, and Chris has put this within circle 2, so that was a great opening drive, and Chris is a great circle 2 putter as well.
Yeah, for a lefty to get into the circle here, it would be such a high-power shot.
Paul's going with another turnover. That's actually flexing, so that looks pretty good.
Still a little bit low, but that's going to get into the circle because of the beautiful angle control from Paul.
Anthony from about 90. And yeah, starting off with the par on this one is not too shabby. You're not going to lose any strokes. It averaged a 3.28 on the day, so the toughest hole in the course, actually. Oh, okay.
It is nice to be around 60 feet here. You can just throw it up and hope to have a sweet start to your round. Just like Chris and I both did there.
Oh, yeah, just giving yourself some sort of look is a big deal in this hole. Paul going with his Luna from about 30. And that's an awesome way to start the round.
Yeah, immediately erasing one stroke from the entire field. 2% of birdies, or 2% of the field birdied this hole.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the par 3s on this course would be considered bonus birdies, and he definitely just got one of them.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Brown and Brandon Redmond. And Paul for getting the lone 2s on that hole. There are only 3 of them in round 2.
And after 3 pars and a birdie, we're going to move on to the newly minted par 4, hole number 2. This one is playing pretty challenging. I think the righties and lefties both have to make a decision here. Either play as far as they can up that hill and give themselves a tougher uphill lie, or play a mid-range or a safe hyzer to the bottom of the hill for a longer second shot.
Yeah, ideally you need to cut off some distance. That's why you're going to see Paul here really try to get way up that fairway. It really makes that second shot much easier.
And he just got a little bit of world champ love on that.
Yeah, he did, but he's also playing he's playing the spin of his disc. He knows that if he turns it over too much into the right side, just by the spin of the disc, it has a better chance of dropping into the fairway.
Roll bouncing off a tree or something like that, absolutely.
Yeah, if you leak it left, though, it can really get in trouble easily. You can really find yourself far left side into nothing.
And you're taking a lot straighter of a route, and I like this a lot.
That's my flippy D1. I was definitely a little bit afraid of leaking it into the wood line. I just wanted to have a clean shot to the basket on my next shot.
And Chris playing a pretty standard lefty play here, and I really like that shot.
Yeah, really solid from Chris.
And that was some tough footing from Anthony, but he actually has thrown a fantastic shot.
That was incredible. I think he threw a cloud breaker right there.
And I think he's just outside circle 1.
From a standstill all the way up that hill. That was so big.
And you have thrown a great forehand. Just leaked into the rough stuff on the right, but you got about 30, 35 footer.
Yeah.
And Clemons with one of the bigger sidearms on tour, potentially in the world, I'd say. He has an enormous sidearm and has popped one up to about 25.
He has a cannon for a sidearm, there's no
Absolute
doubt.
cannon.
These are big sidearms, too. Even Paul's right here. He's got to get some flex on it, which he does not, and he's going to leak but into some trouble to where that putt is no gimme at all. He's going to have some stuff in his way.
That's going to sit. Ouch.
Somehow does not hit a gallery member, even though the gallery was scrambling. That was extremely unfortunate from Anthony right there. A low putt hits the high rise and just takes off.
And after an awesome second shot, he's going to have to take a bogey there, and Paul has buried the birdie putt from the rough.
That's extremely great focus from Paul right there. He's got weird footing. He's doing a semi-awkward straddle, and it just hearts it.
And you also, from the rough, have banged a birdie putt. Must feel pretty good to get that one.
Yes, definitely does. After nice putt from Chris. Yeah, after round one, I missed a putt here for birdie, so I was happy to get this birdie and get on a better pace than round one.
Absolutely. It feels good to either get hole 1 or hole 2, and then, I think the front 9 is really the one you want to score on. 3 birdies on hole number 2 and an unfortunate bogey after that roll away for Anthony. We're going to move into hole number 3, which has a couple new elements to it.
Yeah, one being all this OB on our left side that you're not going to see right here. You cannot throw a disc up high and flat and just let it fade out left like years past. This year it's going to take a much more controlled shot, and the punishment is extreme. If you go OB on this hole, you're going to be taking a bogey, and that's losing at least a stroke on the field.
The drop zone is 540 feet roughly from the pin, so yes, like you said. Paul is throwing a beautiful drifting shot.
Yeah, this is just a Luna.
And as you can see with the elevation, that puts him in a fantastic position, and it's a very low-risk shot. Very stress-free for him.
That was an awesome line with a putter.
And you're going with is it a distance driver?
Yeah, this is actually an X1. I'd throw it because we have a slight headwind here. I just wanted to keep it really low, and I did actually let it get a little bit left on me, but nothing too scary. I'm right where I want to be.
And Chris getting to throw away from the OB, which is nice, and I think he is throwing a driver, and that is crushed.
This is a beautiful looking line.
That was huge. Yep. And the thing about this hole, if you go down and to the right and you're close to that middle, patch of long grass, you actually lose sight of the basket. So depending on what your favorite type of approach shot is on this hole, placement on the fairway is really, really crucial. And Anthony's kind of pulled that over, but it looks like it's fighting.
Wow. Huh. Out of his hand, it looked really good. It looked like it almost might even reach this tall grass. It looked like it caught up on some trees and got in perfect position. Kind of awkwardly close, though, if you ask me.
And that's what I'm saying. You kind of lose sight of the basket, and now your depth perception comes into play. And you actually were in perfect position, in my opinion. High left, and you were able to just pop a nice forehand up there.
It was good. I went glidey D2 to get that distance and played the angle really well.
And Paul did not get that flat, and you could tell.
Yeah, if Paul gets that flat, he knows that's an easy Luna to a birdie for him. Kind of a missed opportunity for Paul. He knows he would have had that one.
Oh, absolutely. Clemons, though, seizing the opportunity and putting it to about 10 feet. And he goes, that's the interesting thing about this hole. You have McBeth trying to go putter-putter. You have Clemons going driver-driver. And then you have AB going distance driver Nova.
Yeah.
So a lot of different ways to play this shot. And it really depends on where you want to be in the fairway.
So there's a little right to left wind right there. Paul was definitely trying to catch some of that and glide it right into the basket. Unfortunately, it missed, as well as AB's putt. Let's see if I can sneak one in there for a birdie.
Oh, man. A little bit left side.
Left side. sometimes stays, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, these baskets, they love strong side and dead center. Anything on the weak side, they are more than likely to spit it out.
Yep, very sketchy, and we as players know that. So we got to hit the pole.
Yeah, as long as they're fair. And Clemons taps in an easy birdie, and McBeth, unfortunately, after that second shot, goes a little bit awry from him. He's going to tap in that par. Same with AB. And the lefty taking the lone birdie on the card, 3 pars from the rest of our players. And now we're moving into one of the shorter par 4s in the course, but very, very placement-oriented.
Chris also took the sole lead after that hit, puts him 12 under par. He's got a 1-stroke lead on the field. Hole 4, this takes a very disciplined drive to a small landing zone. The further you get, the better, the less trees you have to deal with, but it's also very birdieable from in front of the trees that you're trying to land by.
I think Chris is going to try the flex line, and it doesn't quite look like he got everything on it, but he might have an opportunity from the right side.
Yeah, I think he needed a little bit more flex on it.
Absolutely.
Luckily, it catches that tree, though, and he's going to have a possibility for an up and down. I see most lefties do that. They kind of turn it over into those trees and kind of fall down and have a straight up the hill shot.
Yep, and for the righty, this is really, if you have this power hyzer, this should be a no-brainer. Yeah,
Paul made that look pretty easy. The gap that he came through is really small, but that's the gap that he's trying to aim for. Same, I'm trying to hit that same gap that Paul just did. Let's see if it gets through. And it does. You can see it come right through that light right there.
And that's money.
It is so money. I was afraid that it was a little too far left, but it's past all the trees that you have to deal with, and it's just a little hyzer up the hill from there.
The big miss on this hole is just a righty power hyzer going a little bit too far forward and getting caught up in those pines. But it looks like everyone has pretty much placed it in a prime scoring position. And now you have either a, kind of a touch sidearm like Clemons is going to have to do, and that's got to sit kind of dug into the side of the hill.
Kind of needed to scoot up those rocks a little bit low. He knows he turned it over. I'm wondering what disc this is. I think it's like an AVR X3, but he was throwing this really well sidearm. Anthony was. Paul letting that Luna leak a little bit, but no problem there. That's 100% for him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this hole really, I think, tee shot is just the most important thing. The upshot, if you execute what you wanted to execute off the tee, this should be an absolute no-brainer birdie. Unfortunately, after that flick turnover, got a little bit too low out of his hand. He's going to settle for a par. Paul with the birdie.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's going to be knocking in birdies here except Chris. Chris definitely was in a position to score, but not an easy position, and it's going to cost him 1 stroke.
And another set of 3 birdies for the card. Clemons taking the only 4 of the hole, and we will take a quick break from a word from our sponsors.
The Raptor was created for a specific shot, a specific distance, and especially comfort. A lot of thought went into the design of the Raptor. We wanted to make a disc comparable to the zone that just went a little bit further with that consistency. And with the Raptor, I really feel like we accomplished.
Welcome back. Hole 5 is a par 3 bending hard to the right. There's a couple options, one being a sidearm through the gap that the camera is flying through right now. The other is a turnover line, either through the same gap or maybe even an earlier gap. We're going to see both lines played right here, I believe. Paul is going to opt for Undertaker turnover. He really wants to cut it tight, and he really wants to do exactly what he just did. This is pured.
Wow.
Too pured.
And that's a shot that is definitely risky. If you hit any tree on that Anheuser angle, it's going to roll bounce and kick you way left. So that is a pured shot. And it looks like you're trying to follow suit, but
That was great.
Wow.
It was just a little bit too wide, and luckily caught an awesome tree that kicks me to a money range about 45 feet.
Yeah, the trick with any sort of hyzer in this hole is you want to push it as close to that first tree as possible. You almost want to saw it off, which is almost counterintuitive for you.
Yep, Anthony's mistake right there was just like mine. Unfortunately, he doesn't catch as good of a result. He pushed it a little too far straight, and Clemons, the lefty, going sidearm turnover.
I love it.
Yeah, I know you do, Brian. I bet you do love that.
One of my favorite shots to watch in the game, and I know Chris has a fantastic flick turnover, and he's parked it pretty much. AB going a little bit long on that putt, and you got about a 35-footer here for birdie. Buckets. Awesome putt, and after that fortunate kick off the tree, you capitalized for sure.
Yeah, that was a great one to knock in, kind of sneak a birdie out of there. Feels really good, especially with Paul being in a tough position right here. He took his time on this putt, did not have much of a line at all. I'm pretty sure that was a very small gap.
After really puring the line, he had one of the most unfortunate lies on the card pretty much.
Yeah, he did say it himself. He says whenever he does pure that line, it's a straight-up ace run. So that's what that was. If that had any more height on it, it's headed to the bucket.
Oh, yeah.
Any less height, and maybe it scoots down like to a park job. I'm not quite sure, but that was looking good.
A beautiful birdie from Chris after that flick turnover. Put him in great position. Paul's going to tap in the 3, and we have ourselves a bit of a ball game here. We got Kevin Jones and Chris Clemons tied for the lead now at 13 under par. 3 down for the round. McBeth's also 3 down, but is still trailing by 1, and Anthony is at even. We move into hole number 6. That is now with the mandatory tree in the middle of the fairway. Has totally changed the strategy for a lot of players.
Yes, this is a crucial tee shot coming up. Everybody's really needing to make this Mando and come in a scoring position. If they miss the Mando, it's a possible 1-stroke loss on the hole. Possible 2 if you don't get up and down from the drop zone. Here I go. I'm trying to swing in a hyzer flip here.
Looks like you didn't quite get it to flat.
And you're right. I did not aim far enough right, I suppose. And that's going to miss the Mando, and that's going to put me straight at the drop zone.
And what I like about this mandatory is it forces the players to throw a forward-pushing hyzer flip. Both sides. As you can see, Chris was trying to do the same exact thing. And rather than, with the Mando not being there last year, players were able to crash hyzers to that left side and throw hyzer approach. Now it's forcing a much higher level shot.
Very true.
Paul going vulture here, and this is what they wanted you to throw.
He trusted it so much. That was such a sweet vulture shot. I'm kind of jealous right now.
And the crowd loves it. But that is exactly what you want. And the thing is about this hole, you can throw dead straight, but if you're not on that hill, if you're not on the flat part of the hill, the second shot to the basket's really challenging, and Anthony actually catching a great break there.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far. He's actually not going to be able to reach around from that position, and he's practically like in drop zone range. Like he's not going to be able to advance far at all. So that was not a great result from the tree hit, but
better than missing the Mando is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I suppose a little bit better. Now he's up on the top of the hill here with a little flatter run up. This is the drop zone shot. I'm going to throw PA2 that I've been using all season. It's now got some slow flip to it. This disc is money. Put it right to the pin on a slow hyzer flip.
AB going Nova.
Out of his hand. This is parked. Thanks for coming. Such a pretty turnover line. To the
super angle neutral flying disc.
Yeah,
and he's able to just put that wherever he wants. Paul going with the Luna, and he finally got on it and almost got on it a little bit too much, but he should be right there.
Oh, a little help from the spectator. I'm just kidding. He missed him, but that was a great shot. He turned it a little bit much. Right in range
going
though.
Spin putt. No problem for the easy par. Paul from about 25. And another great birdie after that absolutely pure tee shot. He's able to capitalize, and then Anthony after an unfortunate kick off that Mando tree. He's just going to have to settle for par there.
Good putt.
But a good up and down from where he was at.
So Paul's actually using new putters this round. I don't know if you knew that.
I delivered them to him by hand.
So you do know that.
Brand new putters. He likes having a nice stable finish to his putt, and I totally agree with him, especially when the wind's picking up.
Yeah, I like new putters too. Everybody's different, but I like the feel of new putters.
Yeah, I think it depends on your putting style and the types of stabilities you like. And clearly it's working for Paul. He snags the lone birdie on the card. 4 pars from the rest of our players. Pretty good up and downs from Kevin and AB. We're going to move into hole number 7, which I think is a fantastic change from last year.
Yes, it definitely is. This gap shot is so important right now. You either need to get way up the fairway or way left in order to access this green that's not where this basket is, but 60 feet up and to the right.
And keep in mind that the whole left side tall grass now is also out of bounds. So the optimal shot is to go as left or as far as possible, but also challenge that OB. And Paul's thrown a very good shot. He's going to have a little bit of a tough decision to make, either wide anhyzer or inside flick underneath that pine.
Yeah, he needed to skip a little bit higher on the hill to have a little more action, some more distance.
And I like this.
I do the same thing as Paul, though. I hit that hillside, and it takes some speed off of it. We're both actually looking at some anhyzers coming into this green.
And this should be Chris's bread and butter. He loves the power sidearm.
Yeah, that was looking
and
awesome.
That is huge.
Oh, gosh.
Skipped off a disc, it looks like.
I can't believe that, actually. I didn't realize how far up the fairway that was getting.
And Anthony, he ripped something super overstable. He threw that dead flat, and that is, in my opinion, perfect positioning.
It's a really good play. He did. I think he threw a Luster PD2 or Destroyer or something.
That thing did not want to fly whatsoever.
No.
And he's going to go, I'm not sure what he's throwing here.
It's a similar disc.
Yeah, something wildly overstable. That is spiking into the green. And he went way deep.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. He's 35 feet on top of the hill.
And you know, from where you're at, it's almost an impossible place to be. And you're trying to bend one into the green here.
I loved that angle, and it worked out really well for me. I caught the late tree, so dropping me down to about 30 feet.
And those high branches, too. Paul's, it looks like he's going sky anhyzer.
Paul's going really high here, and he comes in a little bit early and spits out right there, even closer. That's going to be 20 feet.
Not a bad result after that shot.
Great result.
Chris going flick, turnover.
That was definitely inside a little bit.
A little bit tight, but he's going to have a circle 2 look. Those high branches by the basket are really thick, and they really don't let a lot of stuff through.
You see a lot of people catch those branches.
Awesome putt from AB. With the wind behind him and the downhill putt, that was a great confident stroke there.
That's a hard-earned birdie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Just left side.
Chris coming closer and closer on these circle 2 putts. I feel like one's going to fall.
And something I looked at for you as you cashed another circle 1 putt, you were, I think, first place for that round in greens and regulation in regards to circle 1. And on this course, you'll find yourself, if you're not pinpointing your shots, tons of 30 to 40 footers, which puts a lot of pressure on the players. So the more circle 1 looks you can give yourself, obviously, it makes playing this course a lot easier, but you have to be on the ball. After 3 birdies on hole number 7, Clemons taking the lone par. We're going to move into hole number 8.
Hole number 8 is a disciplined blind hyzer, 462 feet over the treetops. The camera's going to fly right under them into our very, very crazy looking green with tons of trees around it and also high blocking branches guarding spike hyzers. The ideal shot is a low sweeping hyzer. Let's see what Paul does. He played it perfectly in round 1.
And he's going really high. It looks like he's potentially chancing the Plinko effect. It looks like it worked out for him.
Worked out super well. That's within 20 feet, and that is his line. I asked him right after he threw it if he liked it, and he said he loved it better than yesterday.
And this is the one that I would assume is pured.
I like this angle we're seeing, though. Yeah, that looks really good to me. That's pretty much what I'm looking to do there.
Yeah, and if you're hitting the trunks of the trees, you can't really do much about that, but the higher you go, you're obviously chancing hitting the branches and the leaves and whatnot.
Yeah, let's see what AB's doing here. It looks like it's a little far right, and it was. He didn't get it left enough.
I see a ton of drives land in that position. If you pushed it a little bit too far over those trees, you have to get it going left right away. And Clemons has swung it a little wide, but it is pushing.
Not quite far enough.
Yep. And again, very common place to land the drive. And a nice green flag next to his disc.
Safe.
Very safe. AB from about 50.
Trying to hyzer this one in there.
And that'll be a safe par.
It's always a run, though. This is an uphill green, so we got a backstop. Everybody's going to be running their 60-footers right here. Come on, Chris.
And a couple of circle one putts for you and Paul.
This is a big putt right here. This is to keep streaking.
Just yanked it a little bit to the right.
Yank would be one word for it.
Paul hoping to capitalize on that miss.
Oh, he's gonna. It's a great birdie from Paul. Good drive and pretty much just a tap-in for him.
Absolutely. And we have definitely, as Chris is tapping in this par putt, we have a definite battle going on right now. A lot of back and forth. And again, this course, you know, with how many birdieable holes that there are out there, you have to execute that tee shot.
Yes, 100%. We are coming into very hard to get birdies. So each birdie is becoming even more and more important. These aren't just execution shots. These are tough to get, really grind out your two birdies.
And all of our competitors, now that we have this bonus stretch coming up, we really, 12 down, 13, 14, and 15 down. This card is very close together here. Hole number 9. Uphill shot, but low ceiling uphill shot. 425 feet, plays about 440, 450, I'd say.
Yes, at least probably. Like you said, you can't put this disc too high. It will catch the trees and not get the distance that's required. It's going to take exactly what Paul's doing right here. He's so good at this shot. It's like a flat angle out of the hand, just falling to the right the whole time, except it hits the ground on a hyzer to get even more skip.
Exactly.
The control there is out of this world.
And you've done the same thing. That's a little bit short of the basket, but still, you match the angle well, and it just shows how low this ceiling is. You're having to throw up, but you're also not having to throw it too up, which is very challenging shot shape to hit. And AB's done the same thing. This is 3 pretty much pure drives.
3 ideal drives.
Unbelievable.
Like that's really good. And Chris gonna go a little unorthodox on us. Getting a flick up there would be monstrous, and I think he can do it.
I think he's one of the few lefties that can actually match something like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, the angle is a little bit touchy, and he missed it just a little bit, and that's going to cost him hopefully not more than 1 stroke. But that's going to be a 55-footer for par.
And that's really the only place that you can find yourself taking a big number at.
Yeah, it's these up shots. These up shots are very crucial to...
Especially from that rough on the right side. From about 27 here.
So a miss inside the circle putt on the last hole. This is a good one to get.
That's
luckily.
A fantastic momentum shift right there.
Yeah, it feels really good to have the same kind of putt and knock it down afterwards. So that's
especially knowing with how close AB and Paul are to the basket.
Yeah, no doubt. I have a good feeling that they're both about to sneak birdies on this one.
AB cashes it. Paul from about 15, no problem.
So close, Paul. That's such a good drive. Can't say it enough.
Yeah, that's a shot that we see him throw week in and week out. That long drifting left to right that flattens at the end.
Right.
It was almost like the hole was made for him.
Yeah, was that a Zeus?
It was a Zeus that he threw, I believe.
Nice.
And again, 3 birdies and a bogey from Chris Clemons. Paul's at 16 under. Kev, you're at 15 under. We have a battle going, and thank you so much for joining us for that front 9 coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to Central Coast Disc Golf. We will catch you for the back 9 coverage.